Hey everybody, welcome back to the Drunken Clam Pub, where we will be doing another beer review. This week I'm going to be starting our Christmas series. I picked up something exciting at Total Wine and More the other day. Now when I think winter, when I think Christmas, I think, dark beers, I think nice ales, things like that, or nice spiced ale or spiced lager, but this is definitely something that reminds me of the holiday season. This is the Samuel Smith's Ales and Stouts variety pack. So it's got Sam Smith's Pale Ale, the Nut Brown Ale, the Oatmeal Stout, Tatty Porter, Imperial Stout, and the Organic Chocolate Stout. So today we're going to be starting off with a beer from Sam Smith's that I've never had, which is the Pale Ale. So I'm really excited about this one. I like stuff from Sam Smith's. As always, we're pouring it into a clean glass. I like stuff from Sam Smith's. Particularly the Oatmeal Stout is a beer that I really, really enjoy. And so is the Nut Brown Ale. I'm not a big fan of the chocolate stout, but I mean, I can appreciate it. Like I can understand why people would like it. It's just a chocolate flavor that I'm not particularly akin to. And yeah, I've never had the Pale Ale. I've never had the Tatty Porter, and I've never had the Imperial Stout. So I've had 3 out of the 6. So here's the Pale Ale. Pours a nice amber color with a big, thick, fluffy head on it. Definitely, obviously it's imported from England, so I expect it to be that English style pale ale, English style IPA. A lot of malt character with definitely a nice, pleasant but earthy bitterness. But that malt backbone is really going to be pretty strong. Unlike in like your American style, IPAs. I mean, maybe more in a West Coast, but definitely not more in like your modern American IPAs. This is definitely going to have a lot more malt backbone to it. And right off the bat, you definitely get that English hop aroma, which if you're not familiar with hop varieties, English hops are a lot earthier. Kind of hard to explain, but a lot more, cigar-esque, things like that. Cigar, resin, maybe resin and pine are sort of there, but that's more of like an American, like West Coast style thing. But you definitely get that like ale, that English hop note to it. Definitely get some malty sweetness. It kind of smells a little bit like Newcastle Brown Ale, but like amped up. Got a really nice classic beer smell to it. Classic English ale smell. Yeah, so first impression, it's kind of creamy. It's got like it's got a nice smoothness to it. Yeah, it's definitely got some malt backbone. I would say that being, from the United States, it's not as bitter as I would expect. But I think that's just because the English hops are a lot different than American hops. American hops tend to be a lot more aggressive in their profile, particularly like things like, Chinook or Cascade or Citra. I know a lot of those traditional um, American hops are very, very in your face and piney and herbal. Um, Whereas the English hops are a little bit more. I don't want to say subtle because they're still present. They're definitely present, but they're not nearly as bitter. It's definitely got this like nice creaminess. It like a almost like a nitro, but it's not. It's naturally carbonated, um, but it definitely has like an almost nitro ale creaminess to it. Yeah, it's got great malt backbone, very like traditional English ale flavors. Um, you get some roasted malts, roasted barley. You don't get like anything like an adjunct like you would in like an American style lager or anything like that. Not obviously they're completely different, but um, definitely very very roasted malt, um, sort of like a caramel sweetness. And then definitely like a nice English hop bitterness. Um, Gives you that kind of like cigar note. That's the note that I think is best descriptive of English hops, is very cigar esque or earthy, like a mushroom or something. But obviously, that's not a note that you want to have in your brain when you're thinking of English hops. But um, freshly turned earth and cigar. Those are the big ones for English hops. Very musky. Sort of dank, a little bit dank. Like I think it's I think Chinook, if I remember correctly, is one of the American hops. It's very like weedy, like dank is the descriptor a lot of people use. It's not like that, but you definitely get like with English hops, you definitely get a little bit of that like kind of like musty basement. And I say that, but I don't mean that in a bad way. Like it's not a negative connotation here. It's just it's a way for us to try to describe like the earthiness of these hops. It's got like a nice like slightly fruity ester to it. Like I'm gonna try to get a head going again on this, and almost like strawberry. It's just got this like faint fruity aroma, like a strawberry, or maybe even like a raspberry. And then that definite roasted malt character, and then just a nice rounded bitterness. It's a really really nice ale. Um, it's not as like creamy and smooth as or maybe like maybe that's not the right word. It's not as like sweet as something like Boddington's Pub Ale or an Old Speckled Inn or um, something like that. It's not like that type of like a pub ale. With it being a pale ale, that little bit extra hop, I feel like really rounds this beer out so that it doesn't. It finishes drier and not as sweet, but it still has some of those same those same flavor notes as like a Boddington's Pub Ale, where it's malty, it's creamy, it's sort of caramelly and sweet. But with this, that hop presence just really rounds it out and gives it a more balanced feel. Yeah, it just starts nice and creamy and sweet and finishes, slightly dry and just slightly bitter. Just enough to cleanse your palate of that sweetness and enticing your next sip. So I definitely really, really think this is a one of the better English style ales I've had. Obviously, I say English style, but this is an English ale. This is straight from the UK, and I can see why that this is. I've always enjoyed stuff from Samuel Smith's. Again, particularly the oatmeal stout, but this is definitely, if I see this and if you see this anywhere, definitely worth a pickup if you're into those like English style ales. Really, really tasty experience, and I really enjoy this. So, cheers.